Here's another one. You bought two of everything because management said, what if that thing goes down? Some non-technical auditor came in and said, what if that goes down? That's really important. You ought to have two of those. So we bought into this and we started buying two of everything. Well, when I go into an enterprise and I start documenting their system to troubleshoot a problem, and I do my layer 2, layer 3 diagrams depicting layer 2 and layer 3 analysis of where a packet goes step by step through an infrastructure by VLAN and by component. This starts to expose our dependencies logically. Now you can see that you have two of everything from a physical standpoint, but logically the way that we configure it and how packets actually flow through it is an important thing to also diagram. So I've diagrammed for you a very complex environment where we have an application server right here and we have a database server right here. The application server is what serves up to the end users, the user interface, and the database server is where the application server goes to get all the data from for those particular transactions. So let's start out here with the yellow line, the yellow brick road, let's call it. We go down the yellow brick road here, we come into a firewall into our application environment, and we come in on port 3, we go out on port 2, we come around here, we go up to VLAN 2 on switch 1. VLAN 2 on switch 1 needs to communicate with a device on VLAN 2 of switch 2. So it goes across the trunk, comes over here, gets into VLAN 2 on switch 2, goes into the content server on switch 2, and into the content switch, which load balances between all of our application servers. It comes through here, goes out VLAN 3 on the other side of the content server, comes up and over and back through into VLAN 3 on switch 1, which then connects up to our application server called ProdDB or ProdApp. So here we are. We've just gone from the user, which is out here, through our firewall, out through our firewall, through both of our switches, through our content switch, back and forth across the trunk a couple of times, headed out, and now we finally got to our server. So are we dependent upon, for the initial transaction, what? This firewall, this switch, these trunk circuits, and this switch. Am I not correct? Well, to complete the transaction, the ProdApp server has to do a SQL query on the database over here down at ProdDB. So consequently, it then sends out a request. It goes into VLAN 4 on switch 2, comes back out, goes into firewall interface 4, comes over to interface 5, goes back out, goes into the switch and back out of the switch on VLAN 5, and then hits the ProdDB. Now, at least from my vantage point here, I've traced this logic to show that for this transaction to be successful, we have to have not only switch 1, switch 2, firewall 1, and firewall 2. If any of those components were to go down, which is the reason why we have two of them, our user would not be successful. So until we basically take a look at and diagram layer 1, layer 2 transactions into our applications and through those complex switches, we can't really see what's going on. So this sort of a process of knowing where your layer 2 and layer 3 information is very important.